Welcome to our mantra breathing today, and the theme is using the Holy Spirit in our healing process. So take it away, Sandra Ray.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to mention that Yogananda, the great saint in the Babaji lineage, he himself saw the Holy Spirit as feminine. And he said she is the the Shakti, which creates everything. And he said the Hebrew word for spirit, Ruchart, is nearly in all cases feminine. So I like to consider the Holy Spirit, the Father, the child, and the mother, and the Holy Spirit, feminine. And, the Holy Spirit's activities are expressed as giving birth, nurturing, and mothering all the Father's creations. So anyway, everything I've learned about the Holy Spirit came from the Course in Miracles, which was downloaded from Jesus, of course. In my church, I did not really understand the blessing I could have from the Holy Spirit, that you could ask the Holy Spirit for help with anything, and it's always there to help you. So it is, or she is, the answer. And Jesus can bring it down to us at any time, but only by our invitation. So today you want to invite in the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit will guide us if we let it happen. It's God's answer to the separation. It's really the answer to everything. It's the spirit of joy. It promotes healing, gives you solutions. It's the spirit of joy, promotes healing, and gives you solutions. And it's goal in life without end. It teaches us that there is no hell. Hell is only what the ego makes of the present. So if your mind is stuck in hell of any kind, you're holding on to your ego. And the Holy Spirit is our right mind, it's our strength, and God gave it the mission to remove all our doubt and all of our guilt. So there is no order of difficulty in miracles, as Marcus said. One miracle is not harder than another. And he was telling you how I got stuck in that. As a nurse, I couldn't comprehend how one thing could be just as easy as another to heal. But Jesus mentions that several times. So if you have a diagnosis of some kind and you think it's hard to heal, let go of that. Nothing is too hard for the Holy Spirit. And it's all about processing our ego. The Holy Spirit is God's answer to the ego. The Holy Spirit is God's eternal link to us through eternal communication link. And the Holy Spirit is often referred to as the comforter. So we've been given this comforting. Remember, you can turn to the Holy Spirit for comfort and healing. And you can ask the Holy Spirit to undo whatever thought it is that's making you upset, or whatever thought it is that's making you sick, or whatever thought it is that's giving you pain. So when we all, it really is the answer to every problem, you could say. We cannot call on the Holy Spirit in vain. When we ask the Holy Spirit to help us, we're giving our willingness to perceive a situation differently. We're asking for God's thoughts about the situation. And recently, Marcus was helping me with something I was going through, and he said, you got to stop your thought. Well, I said, I don't know how to do it. And so then he gave me the thought, I allow the power of the Holy Spirit to stop my thought. So let's all say that to ourselves. Whatever you're stuck on right now, and you know what it is, it's a thought that you have that you're stuck on. So I allow the Holy Spirit to undo that thought and to stop that thought and to stop my thought. And I only want the thoughts of God. That's what I want you to get today. So the problem with the ego, it's a choice for guilt. And the Holy Spirit, or the Divine Mother, is a choice for innocence. So why wouldn't we want to choose that, right? It can use all we give it for our salvation. It will sort out the truth from the false and straighten everything out. So it only asks you to sacrifice one thing, and that's pain and your ego. Okay? You don't have to sacrifice anything good. It asks for, and that it would remove. Pain is the only sacrifice it asks for. That the Holy Spirit wants us to give up our pain and suffering. Sometimes we ask for something and we're still afraid of it. So I noticed that when we ask for healing and we're not getting it, we have to process what is our fear of receiving the healing. Okay. What is our fear of being free? So you might have to write that down. My fear of receiving this healing is, and my fear of being free is. Yeah. So I think if you're not getting the answer from the Holy Spirit and you've asked, that means you're not receiving. So you have to look at, let's say you've asked the Holy Spirit for a relationship. Okay, the Holy Spirit wants to give you everything. The Divine Mother wants to give you everything. If you're not getting the relationship, that means you're not receiving the gift the Holy Spirit wants to give you. If you're not being healed and you ask the Holy Spirit to heal you, you're not receiving the healing. So you need maybe a private session to figure out why you can't receive the healing or why you can't receive the thing you want. So the guidance of the Holy Spirit is the way out of hell. It will give the answer to the separation and gives us peace right now. So we must let it order our thoughts. It guarantees that what God willed and gave us is ours. It dissolves our error. It will direct us to avoid pain. The problem is not whether what it says is true, but whether we want to listen. And it does say in the Course, with it all prayers are answered. So if you don't think you're getting the answer, you're blocking it, and it is there. The answer is there. You're just not receiving it. So because it says with all prayers are answered. So we have to be careful, however, not to ask to heal the body, because that would be the ego's belief that the body is the proper aim of healing. It's not. We have to ask the right perception of the body, and we have to have our mind healed. It's the mind that needs healing, and the mind rules the body. A lot of people are praying for physical healings of the body, but they have to pray for healing of the mind. The mind rules the body. So the Holy Spirit mediates between all your illusions and the truth, and it will answer every specific problem. Only it knows what we really need. We need Christ consciousness, which is miracle consciousness, okay? So everybody wants a miracle healing. Well, the Holy Spirit will give it to you again, but you might have a fear of miracles. So again, that might be the reason you can't receive. You have to find out, my fear of receiving the miracle is. So you have to remember, it does offer you every release from every problem. The Holy Spirit does offer that to you. And healing coming from it always works. That is, if you can let it in, right? All healing, by the way, is released from the past. And most people are stuck in the past and they're addicted to the past. And the Holy Spirit doesn't even see sickness, pain, misery, or pain. It only sees the truth, which is your joy. So it doesn't make real. So what I've found out is that to handle the fear of any condition being healed, I have to not make fear real. So the Holy Spirit will not delay in answering your every question on what to do. God communicates to it in your mind, and you will be released from the fear. So give to the Holy Spirit everything that would hurt you. Give a picture of yourself where there is no pain. So it will respond to your slightest invitation. It will undo the consequences of all your wrong thinking. And that's why we say, the Holy Spirit, I accept the atonement for myself, which means I accept the undoing of all my wrong thinking. I mean, that's a good thing to say daily. I accept the atonement for myself, because it's a correction of all your wrong thinking. Anyway, the Holy Spirit assures you that your requests are granted. So let's be filled with the Holy Spirit and the Divine Mother today. I must be filled. I will be filled. I want to be filled. You can have dominion over me and my home, my character, my life, every thought, everything. I allow you to have dominion over me. So the Holy Spirit is your friend and only wants to give you good things that you want. So that's what the Divine Mother is. The Divine Mother wants to give you everything. So again, if you're not getting the healing, or you're not getting the relationship you want, or you're not getting the whatever you need, you need to process fear of receiving.
I wanted to talk a little bit as well, what Sandra added, but this element of the Holy Spirit being the unknown. And how are we using that? Because often we think answers have to come from what we know, and we're not used to using the unknown as part of our problem-solving repertoire, right? It's not how we were taught in school. I mean, we were taught, oh, you got to go find the information, utilize the information, and then use that information to solve your problem. And with the Holy Spirit, it's not exactly like that. It's like, well, I want to use what I don't know to solve the problem. And for most of us, that's taking us way out of our comfort zone. And we don't have the trust that there's something in that kind of nebulous, empty space that's going to help us. And I think this is where the challenge comes in when we talk about using the Holy Spirit to help us solve our problems or our health things. So that's the beginning. We have to have a trust in what we don't know, that is on our side, that's a benevolent force. And that's a force that is actually working in our favor. You know, like there's a lesson in the course that says God's will for me is perfect happiness, right? That's lesson 101. So God is also kind of in that domain of the unknown. It's like, yeah, we'd like to think of God as this entity that we can have this direct contact with, and we can, but we also have to see that God's a pretty big concept. It's like, all right, the creator of the universe. When we're talking about, we can't even fathom how big the universe is in our mind, right? And then now we have this creator of this universe, which is even greater than the universe itself. So we're getting into domains that are more cosmic, more grand, more all-pervasive, and also more unknown. It's like we can't pretend to fathom the depth of that immensity, right? And now we're asking God to help us. So it's like we're asking the unknown, and the Holy Spirit falls in this category too, right? It's an active life force of the Creator that can very specifically be directed towards whatever our needs are. But it's still in this realm of the unknown, and we have to be okay with that. But now, if the Creator says, my will for you is perfect happiness, and we have a problem that's putting us in some kind of unhappiness, right? Well, then wouldn't it follow that whatever that force is that our Creator, even though it's unknown, the force is unknown and our Creator is unknown. But if we knew the one fact that the will of that Creator is for us to have perfect happiness, then that would mean our problem has to be solved, right? Happiness and the solution to whatever problem we're perceiving has to be together. It's one and the same. We bring that together. Okay, we bring the will of our Creator who wants our perfect happiness, and we meet that with whatever this problem is we're having, then the solution has to be there. So that's where we can develop the trust in the unknown, is that one lesson. It kind of hinges on that. If we trust that our Creator wants us to have happiness, then that would also mean all of our problems would have to be solved. Because happiness in the definition of that would be a state free of any problems. You wouldn't have, in heaven, you wouldn't have problems. So let's just say perfect happiness and heaven are the same thing. Well, that would be a state free of problems, free of pain, suffering, anything that is not in harmony with perfect happiness. So that's where we can develop the trust, in my opinion, with forces that are beyond our knowing, which would be the Holy Spirit, right? So it's a force, it's a great force, it's a life force. I mean, we don't have to look far to see the life force working. I mean, we can just look outside and see nature, nature is incredible. And we can see the life force working in that. And we can have a trust that, well, there is a life force and there's the result of it. But now the trust in that life force, that the life force can be on our side, solving our problem, our particular needs, that's a little bit more of a leap of faith. But we can do it. We can do it. And I think we have to be clear that this life force, even though it's great and unknown, is on our side. It's benevolent. It wants us to have perfect happiness. Therefore, it wants our problem solved, whatever that problem is. Could be a physical problem, could be a financial problem, could be a relationship problem, whatever that is coming up in our life that's very specific. There is a specific solution to that when we connect. And we have to make this connection, this spiritual connection with the unknown. Anytime you talk about spiritual anything, you're dealing with the unknown. You're dealing with something that is beyond our reach. We want to make the contact. We want to make that part of our problem-solving repertoire. But we also have to trust that there's an element of the unknown in that, and that the unknown is on our side. And I think when we get that connection, then the unknown it's not a point of fear, because you ask a lot of people about the unknown and their fear comes up. That's one of the first things. Oh, well, I'm afraid of the unknown. But we have to develop as spiritual warriors, so to speak, we have to develop this relationship with the unknown and not see it as something to be feared, but see it as kind of the reservoir of our new possibilities. Like, new possibilities are new, meaning we haven't seen them before, right? So new solutions have to come from the unknown that we haven't seen before. And we have to have this trust that the unknown's on our side in sending us those things. And I think that's one of the other important points of spiritual healing. We have to trust that the healing is there, and that the will of this creator that is this spiritual force is on our side and going to be sending us solutions. And we have to connect with that. So that's what I wanted to say, that this relationship with the unknown is very important to spiritual healing, and we have to develop that, and we have to trust that, and we have to turn that into something that, we fear the unknown, into something we trust instead, and believe that it's actually there on our side, sending us new possibilities, things that we hadn't expected before, and new solutions, to problems that we have that are very concrete in the present moment, So I'm seeing, apply that to myself. Okay, my dentistry is going to get all sorted out eventually, and I'm going to be back into shape, and the bill's paid, and my mouth's feeling good, and I'm asking the Holy Spirit to help me move in that direction. So, and that doesn't mean there won't be practical things that we all have to do. There may be very practical things we have to do. But in those practical things, there's a force behind it, kind of calling the shots and moving it in the right direction. Yeah. So, okay. Well, that's all I wanted to say on spiritual healing. And I think we can get ready for the breathe now.